Welcome back to the F Tier Nuzlocke. Today we'll be tackling Soul Silver again because you requested it. If you're seeing this video and haven't watched the first part of the run, there's a link in the description to take you to the video if you want to see everything from the beginning. If you have already watched the first part and you're coming back for this part, why haven't you subscribed already? Huh? You're coming back anyway. May as well. And if you think you are, double check, because you're not. Assuming you already watched that first part, or you're the kind of person that reads the last chapter of the book first, you'll know that the tier list we are referencing today comes from Creator Imported Cheese. And you'll also know that we have successfully beaten the main story of Soul Silver using that list of encounters. Today, we'll be taking on the second half and post-game of Soul Silver, the entirety of Kanto, the Elite Four rematch, and yes, even Red. If we get there. Can we get there? We only had 3 deaths through the first half of the game, all 3 falling at Champion Lance. To Gamboj, Gambaj, Zephyr, and Anato, thank you for your sacrifices, brave soldiers. We wouldn't be here without you. And by here, I mean just getting off the boat in Vermilion City. Breathe in that fresh air. Yep, tastes like chicken. But we're obviously not here alone. Flashback time. With 3 fallen members, we have 3 slots to fill, and I know just who we need to be able to get through the tough journey ahead. Firstly, on Route 45, we can pick up a Bernie and the Teddy Ursa, which definitely won't upset anybody, and if it does, fuck you, the red fight is hard. Next, in the Safari Zone, we can get either Sunkern or Jigglypuff. Either one we miss, we can still pick up in Kanto if necessary, but for now, we do encounter Amaranth and send her to the PC. Lastly, we take our little bear on a trek through the woods, find this guy who will teach him how to ram his head into trees, and utilize that technique back home to find Alabaster the Pineco. We just need a really solid, physically defensive Pokemon, and while there are other technical options for us available on our encounter list, we've been avoiding them on purpose just because they feel too good for the run. I mean, the outcry of support for Umbreon was insane on the last video, and I do thank you for the comments. But can you imagine if I used Skarmory? Or Steelix? Hell, I even avoided evolving Togetic. The things I do for you people. Speaking of, flash forward back to Kanto, I should lay out the ground rules for my overly stubborn way of approaching this region. First off, level caps. Every gym does have a somewhat ascending order of levels in Kanto, but problem is, the gym in front of us in Vermilion has a level cap of 53. Janine's gym in Fuchsia City has a level cap of just 50. We will be tackling the gyms in ascending level order, it just requires some story finagling. Secondly, I will not be using Watchit or Poos. No Umbreon or Weezing for me. You can argue that I've roughly replaced them on the team anyway, but I already was planning to not use Weezing for the second set of gyms since he had enough of a spotlight at Johto. But again, since the Pokemon that upset the most people is Umbreon, a Pokemon that I didn't even take into the Elite Four, I decided he can stay behind too. As with every decision I make in life, I'm here to prove a point, goddammit. And lastly, we'll be kind of skipping around a lot, so don't expect the full region tour. We did a whole video on Kanto that you can check out after this one if that's what you're in the market for. Kanto in this game is pretty open and we can kind of do whatever we want, except get past the Snorlax. Awesome. So we will have to take a quick detour. We head northwest to Celadon City, go to the cycling road, and we don't have a bike. Okay, well, there's a bike shop north of us in Cerulean City, which apparently doesn't sell any bikes because another branch of the shop in Goldenrod stole all of their business. Okay, so we fly back to Goldenrod City, find the bike shop hiding in this corner, and the guy straight up gives us a bike because, get this, he has 0 business and just wants to get the word out. How did this shop even possibly outsell the original if they're so desperate to sell a bike that they will straight up give out one for free? Maybe I just don't understand business very well. But either way, I have a bike now, so we can go back to Kanto Cycling Road, ride south until we reach Fuchsia City, and finally, reach the first gym on the second half of our journey. Janine thinks she's so clever, as though I've never dealt with clones or invisible walls before, but we reach her easily in the center of the room and demand a gym badge. Janine may be Koga's daughter, but she sure hasn't learned much from his mistakes. Her lead Crobat is pretty easy fodder for Faloo, who is surprisingly going to get a lot of screen time here in Kanto. Even though Crobat tries its best to be as annoying as possible with Confuse Ray, Faloo having Recover keeps her health up, while Ice Beam and Ancient Power are more than enough to eventually fell the bat. Weezing is an interesting choice. I mean, who uses Weezing? A few crunches from Phlox takes out easily. Phlox also gets 1 crunch in against Ariados, but since it has Psychic, we switch out the next turn to Alabaster. We can take our time, set up some hazards, and then KO the spider with Gyro Ball. Feels good, man. Against Venomoth, we bring in a Burnian, who does miss his first headbutt because of Janine's double teaming ways, and gets outsped and poisoned the next turn from Sludge Bomb. But now, headbutt connects and does enough damage after hazards to take down the Moth. Being poisoned is actually pretty good for us too. Ursaring is naturally pretty strong, just not really bulky and pathetically slow. But we did roll the ability Quick Feet, which raises our speed when affected by a special condition. This won't come up too often, but now we can actually stay in against the next Ariados, outspeed, and headbutt just barely misses the KO. Instead of attacking though, Ariados uses Swagger. With his health low, we have a free turn to go for the KO now that our attack has been raised, since Janine will go for the full restore. We risk the confusion turn, land the headbutt, and KO the last Pokemon. The first gym of Kanto is ours. Now we can fly back to Vermilion and challenge the electric gym second, with a level cap of 53. Unfortunately, to get into the gym, we do need to have Cut, which we teach Ursaring for now. We can always remove it later. Lieutenant Surge is no real pushover, he said, moments before completely pushing over Lieutenant Surge. We have a fun strategy that I never thought to utilize before now. Since Phlox has Shed Skin, we can actually make use of rest more effectively to wake up from sleep early. Combine that with Stockpile to increase defense, and we've got a tank and a half on our team. I don't always plan these fights to completion, but when I do, I come up with some funky stuff, y'all. But you gotta come out to the streams to see more of that. Anyway, Raichu can try to Thunder Wave all at once. We shed it off. It goes for double team while we stockpile our 3 defense boosts, and then we just spam Poison Jab until we land one on the rat. One isn't enough to kill, but it does force healing, and the second one keeps poisoned, which means sooner or later the Raichu will fall without too much effort. Lieutenant Surge brings out Electrode next, and while only one of his Electrode knows self-destruct, it is impossible to know which. There's no real point playing around it, especially since we probably live anyway. We get off 2 poison jabs to take it out, and it does go for Shockwave in the meantime, confirming that the exploding Electrode is still in the back to look out for. But for whatever reason, Electabuzz is in next, who just falls to a single poison jab. By the time the second Electrode comes in though, we've been paralyzed for a while without Shed Skin removing it, so there's a combination of terrible things that could potentially happen here, such as double team making our attack miss, and then getting fully paralyzed 2 turns in a row. Yeah, that might suck. Fortunately, we can rest, remove the paralysis manually, and though Shed Skin still doesn't proc to wake us up early, Electrode just uses 2 charge beams, which we take easily, and 2 poison jabs can take it back out in return. Whew. Now Magneton can really give us some problems. It's got double team, confused ray, it even hits a critical hit mirror shot. It's fine, really, but Crunch just isn't dealing enough damage because this is still a gen where Steel resists Dark. In fact, we're almost out of PP by the time we get it low enough for Surge to heal and set us back to the very beginning again. We don't have much choice and we have to pivot, but no big deal, we obviously brought a plan B. Persimmon can come in, easily take a mirror shot, and even though Magneton has several evasion boosts and outspeeds and confuses poor Persimmon, she still hits through and lands the Spore, putting Magneton to sleep. Now we can freely switch into Feldgraw, getting his first time to shine out of the box, probably just because Gambosia's dead. But he is equipped with Sand Tomb. Magneton stays asleep, we land 2 Sand Tombs in a row, and handily win the fight. Now the next 2 gym leaders, Misty and Brock, share a level cap of 54, so we can challenge whichever one we want first, and since Cerulean is on the way, we can stop there and see that Misty is nowhere to be found. Awesome. Maybe we should get one of those Janine clones to run this gym since the leader clearly isn't very responsible. Isn't she like on a date or something? So we clear out Nugget Road? Why aren't you guys on the bridge? You had one job. Okay, not here either. How about going to Brock first then? No. Apparently there's no way to enter Mount Moon from this side, so... Okay, yeah, I had to look this part up because I did not remember at all how to unlock Misty. Brock, I figured I had to go to Lavender Town and get the flute to wake up the Diglett's Tunnel Snorlax, but I never liked Rock Tunnel, and I will take any excuse to delay it if I can. So, the power plant is no longer abandoned, no longer home to Zapdos, and is completely shut down because of a single part going missing. Cool. Apparently the thief was spotted somewhere around the Cerulean Gym. Ding, 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 we have a winner. A random Team Rocket grunt is rushing out of the building, so of course we track him down and beat his ass before he tells us that the part is still hidden in the gym for whatever reason. We grab that, take it back to the power plant, and then find that the gym is still empty. You know what? Now I'm not gonna feel bad about ruining her date. My whole day is ruined chasing after this bitch. Whatever. Now that we scared off her secret boyfriend, we can challenge Misty in her gym. Hazards definitely aren't necessary in vanilla games and don't usually have too much benefit, but since my Pokemon just love to barely miss ranges on knockouts, I welcome them with open arms. And just like we did against Janine, we can set them up pretty freely here against Misty's Golduck. After I've had enough of that, we bring in Persimmon, who freely eats up Golduck's Water Pulse thanks to his dry skin, and can take Psychic pretty easily while putting the duck to sleep. Now we just need to land a few Bullet Seeds and, again, just barely miss the knockout. Well, we can have some fun here and predict the full restore, immediately putting Golduck back to sleep. 2 more Bullet Seeds don't take it out, and Golduck wakes up and actually disables Persimmon's attack. Well, that's just not cool. Go the fuck to sleep. And get slashed to death while you're at it. Nerd. Lapras can either Sing or Ice Beam here, so we send in Faloo, who eats Ice Beam easily, can retaliate with super effective Ancient Power, and actually score the Omniboost. Well, that wasn't expected, but we'll take it. Lapras easily falls, and Quagsire is the next adversary in. It does have Earthquake, but we should be able to survive pretty easily with our defense boost. In fact, Quag just takes the turn to set up Rain while we start an onslaught of Ice Beams. We do have to take one Earthquake before Quagsire falls, but Faloo stays above half HP thanks to her Citrus Berry. Starmie is Misty's final Pokemon, and it can't really touch Faloo. We can recover easily, and though he gets confused by Confuse Ray, Faloo never hits himself once. And a good bit of back and forth later, Starmie is defeated. Fine, time for Rock Tunnel. Still less annoying than Victory Road, but just as dark as Dark Cave. Love how every single cave is bugged on my very real Nintendo 3DS console. Anyway, the other side lets out to Lavender Town, where the people here have decided that the dead have had their time and we need to turn our cemetery tower into a radio station. Awesome. This man has already heard of our good deeds surrounding the power plant, so he gifts us with the ability to access other radio stations on our Pokegear. A function I literally had to Google to figure out how to make it work, because what does that even mean? I'll tell you what it means. It means we can go back to that Snorlax and wake him up using the Pokeflute station. Sweet. The Diglett and Diglett's Cave must have been working overtime recently, because I do love what they have done with the place. Curious how they built this bridge though. But it lets us out to Pewter City, where we can immediately challenge Brock without any interruption. And this is why he'll always be better than Misty. We lead Alabaster, set up some hazards, do some chip, and switch out to Persimmon, who I am learning has the most awful attack stat ever. I expected a lot more damage against this Pokemon with a 4x weakness to grass, but whatever. I am playing with the worst Pokemon after all. I can't expect too much out of them. They gotta work together. Weak Pokemon together strong. Good thing there's always a lot of them. I wonder how Run would go just using the best Pokemon instead. Huh. Oh, Graveler died. It's time to Flux. We bring out the giant snake, stockpile a bit, make sure to stay out of range for double damage brine thanks to rest, and slowly crunch the Amistar to death. Rhyhorn dies to 2 uses of crunch as well, only setting up Sandstorm in the process. Onix is in next and actually does manage to get Phlox down into the red, just in time for him to rest up again. Whew. Anyway, Onix falls shortly after, but it was scary for like half a second there. I realize I kind of have to breeze these fights a little bit, but I will touch briefly on it by saying that I really had to balance when to rest and when to attack, because the Sandstorm damage, chance of flinches, and surprising amount of damage we took even with defense boosts made this fight a lot closer than I expected. I mean, we still got through it pretty easily, and Kabutops is no exception to that, but worth noting that the strategy that I definitely just stole off of Brawly and Run and Bun is one I will absolutely use again someday. I freaking love it. Y'all ready for Sabrina? Level 55, baby, here we go. Lead Kokleku against Espeon, set up Agility, Swords Dance, and Substitute while it goes for a few Calm Minds, and pass ourselves over to Nadir. Remember what we did to Will? Yeah, we have a repeat performance here. Sabrina only has 3 Pokemon, none of which can survive a Night Slash. Let's move on to the next then, shall we? Erica is about the same, except her AI gets stuck trying to leech Seed a Substitute. Not the first time that's happened in this game, so we're free to pass everything we need over to Nadir once again. Fly takes out all 4 of Erica's Pokemon without giving them any chance to fight for themselves. Only 2 gyms left. Now we get to surf south of Pallet Town and reach Cinnabar Island, which apparently fucking exploded at some point. So the gym is, somewhere. And that somewhere is inside the Seafoam Islands. And I definitely found the gym right away without missing the ladder the first time and spending half an hour in the depths. Yep, editor, don't show those clips, okay? Thank you. It's cozy in here. Let's just fight Blaine before I get lost again. Faloo is an easy lead against Magcargo, and we take it out with a single surf. And actually, Faloo just kind of solos this gym. Magmar really tries by setting up Sunny Day and confusing Faloo. He even comes equipped with Thunder Punch, but it just isn't enough. Rapidash can only bounce around a bit before it falls as well. Well, those last 3 were a bit anticlimactic, but now it's time for the last Kanto gym. Blue is the gym leader here, and the floor puzzle is about as annoying as he is. But with just a little bit of brain power, we can reach the gym leader without running into a single trainer. Fuck. That fuck again. Like it or not, Blue is the coolest trainer in the game, second only to Red, who we may or may not see later. His team is a callback to his time as champion, which means this gym does not have a type theme. It's just the Get Good gym. And get good we did. We lead Persimmon to match up perfectly against his Exeggutor, holding a Chesto Berry to wake us up from Hypnosis if it hits, which of course it does, and then solidly KO the weird plant with a 4x super effective X-Scissor. Pidgeot is brought in next, which makes sense, so we bring in Skoboloff. Remember him? He's a Magcargo now. Wow. So the AI here can either switch because it deals like no damage to us, as we've seen before with Silver and Victory Road, or just stay in and try whatever damage it can because it gets stubborn. But it doesn't know yet that it's dealing no damage, sorta. Whatever. I really don't know how the game decides to switch mid-battle, okay? I just know it isn't usually relevant because every main trainer is type-themed, so they can't do much switching anyway. There's no risk to us either way, as we can take the first turn to Ancient Power, deal good damage while taking the Resistor Return in well, return, and then the second turn go for Yawn. If blue switches, great. If not, it doesn't matter, but he actually does switch into Machamp, so that's cool. But now we have to get the heck out of dodge because I am actually allergic to no guard dynamic punch. So anyway, we brought Xanadu for this guy specifically. It is 4 times resistant to fighting moves and immune to Earthquake, which is actually what Machamp goes for on the switch here. Machamp then falls asleep. And guess what? Our level cap is 60, baby. Xatu learned Psychic. We made it! Machamp falls in just 2 uses of the move, with Xanadu getting the KO range after a full restore. Good job, buddy. I love this Pokemon so much. Now, if you thought that was good, you're gonna hate this next part. I thought rock resisted rock. It does not. Magcargo switches into the super effective Stone Edge and almost dies for my mistake. Well, that's okay, right? He lived. Rhydon is going for Earthquake now. We can bring in Parasectin. No, he uses Stone Edge again. Okay, panic. Ebernian? Okay, he takes half from Stone Edge. We're probably fine as long as we don't get crit, right? Okay, breathe, figure it out. Rhydon is in the red now. Just need to finish it off. Let's switch in Amaranth and try to get our bearings. Megahorn really doesn't do much to us, so we can hit the Flamethrower on the next turn, where we miss the KO, but do actually get the burn. The Falling Earthquake is nerfed, which leaves us at about half HP. The Rhino then falls to its burn. Okay, so yes, I didn't really have a plan for Rhydon. My bad. We're good now though, right? We couldn't use Faloo because I actually need him for the next Pokemon Arcanine. And I guess burn RNG is just favorable today because Faloo gets burned on the switch by Flare Blitz. Whatever. Dragon Pulse knocks us to half HP, but Surf takes out the dog in 1 hit. The last menace is Gyarados. We have to switch back out to Amaranth while it Dragon Dances, and we should still be good for 1 turn, just have to hope Thunderbolt is enough. But it barely isn't. Okay, well, now he has to heal, so maybe this time we can hit the range. We don't. But it does get paralyzed. Okay, we got this. Except he heals again, and still no Thunderbolt KO. Oh, unfortunately, we need a free switch. Our only hope is getting Xanadu in at full HP. I could try to predict the waterfall and switch to Persimmon, but it leaves us in the same situation. So even though this is his first fight, we have to let Amaranth fall just so we can continue. It might be my mistakes that put us in this situation, but they won't let the run end here. I'll see to it. Xanadu comes out, Gyarados doesn't see the KO and goes for a 3rd Dragon Dance, and Psychic takes it out in the same turn. Blue's last Pokemon, Pidgeot, is still waiting in the wings. Wings. Xatu having Wish means we can set that up to heal between returns, keeping our HP high and getting off a solid Psychic in the meantime. Sadly, Blue wises up to this strategy and uses Whirlwind, bringing a Ebernian back out. Unfortunately for him, that means Wish heals the bear back up to green, and we tank the incoming return to retaliate with a strong Avalanche and take out the Feathered Menace. Now with all 8 Kanto Gym badges in hand, it's time to truly test ourselves. The Elite Four is waiting once again. This time, they know my tricks. They're stronger, and they're waiting for my return. I could talk a little bit more about my prep and how I went to the Battle Frontier and unlocked the tutors, and listen, there's no sense in delaying. Let's just jump right into it. Will leads with a Bronzong and sets up Reflect and Gravity for some reason. Well, it doesn't really matter to us. We set up with Kokliku, Baton Pass out to Nadier, and begin the Night/Spam once again. Unfortunately, Will, your Reflect wears out far too quickly, and we're equipped with a Metronome. So every turn Nadier gets to attack is just another turn we're building damage. So you can try to heal and stall with Bronzong all you want. Once it falls all too quickly, the rest of your team will follow. First Jinx, then Grumpig, Gardevoir, Slowpoke, and finally Xatu. Bring me a real challenge. Maybe that'll be Coke. I'm sorry, I couldn't say that with a straight face. His Skuntank lead is up against Alabaster, and it can dig all at once while we set up hazards. Then it's just a fun stall game of landing bug bites while the skunk is above ground until it gets low, and Koga heals, we repeat the process, and finally, Skuntank is low enough to explode, which still doesn't kill Alabaster. Sucker. When Toxicroak comes in, we switch ourselves out to Kokliku and spam substitute until it finally misses the 70% accurate gunk shot. Once we have our free turn, we pass an agility out to Xanadu, take out the Frog with Psychic, and start our momentum once again. Swalot, Crobat, Venomoth, and Muck all fall to Psychic after taking hazards damage. What a day to be a bird, man. Ah, Bruno. Notoriously the easiest member of any Elite Four ever. But this time, I don't have a funky little plant dude on my team, so what am I gonna do? Well, Baton Pass a bunch of speed over to Xanadu is what I'm planning. Psychic easily KOs Hitmontop, Hariyama, and Machamp. Lucario does live a Heat Wave, but not the second one. Psychic just barely doesn't take out Hitmonlee, but Swagger Confusion doesn't stop us from picking up the KO the next turn, and then hitting through to KO the Hitmonchan that follows. Karen is up next, who has really leaned into her Dark-type specialty. She leads off with Weavile, so we let a Ebernian take it out with Superpower. Weavile does hit hard with Low Kick, but believe it or not, we actually don't need a Ebernian anywhere else in this fight. Alabaster can come in against Absol, Soul, hit hard with super effective Bug Bite, and only have to hear some horrible singing before taking it out. And we're not staying in against Houndoom anyway, so we switch easily over into Faloo, who can take it out with just 2 uses of Surf. Faloo's health is low against Honchkrow, but it can't really do a lot of damage to us, so we take the chance to recover. Then we get Haunch super low with 2 Ancient Powers, but get Whirlwinded out to Xanadu before we can take it out. Knowing Karen wants to heal, we stay in, use Wish, and then switch the next turn back into Alabaster. Unfortunately, he gets paralyzed on the switch, but it won't stop us from setting up Stealth Rock and then 2-shotting with Gyro Ball. Spiritomb is what is known in the industry as a problem. We do switch into Kokliku, but get cursed in the process. We can Baton Pass a substitute, but that will pass the curse as well. We can do it, we just have to be quick. Bringing in Nadier, Fly does more than enough, and we're down to Karen's last Pokemon, Umbreon. Fitting. We hard switch ourselves over to Alabaster, take a little damage from Payback, and use Bug Bite to eat up the Umbreon Citrus Berry and heal ourselves. Umbreon will need a lot of curse boosts to take out Fortress, so we take a few turns, Bug Bite away, and before even needing to pivot to plan B, we land a critical hit and win the fight. Now, real quick before the Lance fight, I did make one change to our level cap rule here. Lance's highest level of 75 is just far and away higher than the rest of the Elite Four. Karen herself sits at 64, a full 11 levels lower. To keep things fair, I entered the Elite Four at Karen's level cap of 64, but before fighting Lance, increased my level cap to 75. I see no reason to attempt this fight at such a major disadvantage, since that isn't really the point of level caps, and honestly, I don't see any way of winning with that much difference either. With that caveat out of the way, it's time to take on Lance one final time. We lead off with Faloo, since Lance's overgrown salamander of a Pokemon is mighty weak to ice. It does live in Ice Beam, but Lance is forced to heal the next turn, and so do we. Back to square one, so let's try Ancient Power first, and then Ice Beam the next turn into Garchomp? You remember when I said I don't understand Switch AI? I want to say I kinda do. If their Pokemon lands a move and it kinda does Piddly Squat, they want to switch. Apparently this is overridden if the AI needs to heal, maybe? I don't know. And then they go for a Pokemon that is strong against your type. So Garchomp, being ground and having Earthquake, is strong against our rock type Corsola in theory. Cool. I'll take the free hit, especially since we move first next turn, probably because Lance tried to use Roar and take out the Garchomp before it can even move. It's just so weird. We can't really afford to play around with Gyarados' Dragon Dance this time, so we stay in and fire off an Ancient Power that, get this, lands the Omniboost. Now, where have we seen this before, Lance? Waterfall just does not do enough to us, and Faloo takes out the Gyarados as quickly as it came in. Salamence comes back out, weird choice, so we take the chance to recover and then KO it the next turn with Ice Beam. This time, Lance only has one Dragonite, and both of its moves, Draco Meteor and Hyper Beam, leave it vulnerable next turn. It can also Safeguard here, so we take the chance to recover once more, take a Draco Meteor, which drops Dragonite's special attack, and next turn recover again to get back to full HP. The poor thing just can't deal any damage anymore, so we put it out of its misery with a few more Ice Beams. Charizard comes in next for whatever reason and dies instantly to Ancient Power. Altaria falls just as quickly to Ice Beam. If I had a nickel for every time I swept through a champion fight with a terrible Pokemon from their own region that doesn't even evolve, I'd have 2 nickels, which admittedly isn't a lot, but it is weird that it happened twice. And as the credits roll once more, that, dear viewers, concludes the post-game of Soul Silver. We did it. 18 badges, 2 Elite Fours. It's over. All right, you got me. You looked at the time left. Let's go fight Red. Alone at the top of Mount Silver, who could it be other than Red, the mysterious hero of Kanto? Here to train and become even stronger, by far the hardest fight in this game, maybe of any vanilla game. For this fight, I'm going all out. No box restrictions, no imposed challenges. Hell, I even cheated to get up here, so I wasn't bound to the HM moves I'd normally need to get here. This isn't about any of that. This is just me versus him. Win or lose, I consider this challenge completed, but who would I be if I didn't at least try? Red leads off with Pikachu. We start with Persimmon. We can put his rat to sleep, then use Knock Off to remove his Light Ball. Though it wakes up to his with Volt Tackle the next turn, its damage is cut severely, so we survive and KO with X-Scissor. 1 down. Now, this strategy is one of my least favorites, but PP stalling is a thing that does work very well. Lapras has 4 attacking moves, but against Parasect, it only really wants to use Blizzard. Against Corsola, it only wants to use Brine, which doesn't affect Parasect at all. So we can switch back and forth between Faloo and Persimmon, heal the damage that Persimmon has already taken, and do the Song of Dance until it is totally out of Blizzard PP. This is really the only thing Faloo is here for, which is really interesting considering that it just swept the champion not even 2 minutes ago. Now Lapras can be put to sleep by Persimmon, and we can get a free switch to Kokliku. We set up Sword Stance and Agility and pass him over to the real star of the show, Eburneon. He's been solid for most of this half of the run, but never a star player like Faloo or Nadier. This is his time. This is what he was made for. With his attack through the roof and his low speed patched up, Thunder Punch easily takes out both Lapras and Blastoise. Ice Punch one-shots Venusaur, and Charizard falls to Rock Slide. It's Red's final Pokemon that's a problem, and honestly, I don't know why he didn't bring it out sooner. We have nothing to hit Snorlax. Originally, the plan was, if this came out earlier, to just pivot and find a way to bring a Burnian in again after him. But now that every other Pokemon is already down, we can let the bear fall with a chip, dealing whatever chip damage he can in the meantime. Thank you for your sacrifice of Burnian. Your service got us this close. We will finish it in your honor. Alabaster can come in, tank any hit it needs to, and slowly Snorlax's HP is chipped away by small attacks and constant hail damage. In the end, it falls. Red has no more Pokemon that can battle. Player defeated, Soul Silver. Again. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. This video was only made thanks to your comments and suggestions, and I do read and appreciate them all. Even you, guy who thinks I pronounce everything weird. If there are other games or challenges you'd like to see me try, be sure to let me know. I have a few planned, but I'm always open to ideas and suggestions. Don't forget to subscribe, join the Discord, all that jazz. For now though, if you like this video and want to see more, be sure to check them out. The links are on your screen now, and I will catch y'all in the next run.